Happy Thursday, people. What's going on? Welcome to Conversations with Chike Evans. I'm Chike Evans, and today we will be talking to R&B sensation Glenn Lewis. Glenn Lewis is back with a masterful piece of art called Overture. We're going to talk to him, talk all about it, and find out its origins, and we're going to talk about the music industry and yeah, a lot of stuff. See where he's been, what he's doing. All right, he finally is here. Hold on. Welcome in, y'all. Oh, brother,
Dude,
how are you?
I'm good. I'm good, man. It took me a second. I was like, "Were we supposed to connect on?" I was like, I actually forgot. I thought we was doing it. Yeah. Anyway, we here.
Differently.
We here. Yeah, man. What's
So
good?
it's good to see you. I haven't seen you in about like 10 years.
At
It's been
least.
it's been that at the
Yeah.
Prince Theater, and I met you through Marsha Ambrosius.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right. Yeah,
yeah,
man. That's crazy. Yeah, you got good memory, doc.
yeah.
Yeah, man.
So say that again. I didn't hear you.
How you been?
I'm blessed. No complaints.
So,
No
yeah,
complaints. If
I
I
like.
did, I'd be lying, telling you the truth.
I hear you. Yeah, yeah.
And so, over the years, I've been egging at you on social media
Mm-hmm.
because, like, your voice in the '90s, brother, was one of the staple voices that it harkened back to a time that made you feel good about things. Because music during that time, it was different.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I know what you're
yeah,
saying. Yeah,
yeah. And
yeah.
so,
Certain things have, like, naturally, of course, different eras. There's different trends that'll
true.
pop up. I think for that specific time period, because World Outside My, well, don't you forget, it came out like 2001, and then the album dropped, World Outside My Window, in 2002.
Hmm.
And a lot of the music even leading up, because like the 90s was like the golden era of R&B. Like there was so much great, like there were so many great artists, so many great albums. Like Cass was going platinum, like it
Yeah,
was damn near no effort. But there was a lot of great music though.
yeah,
Uh,
it was.
and I would say, it was an interesting time because you still had, a lot of artists, if they were getting signed, they had to have certain chops. They kind of had to go through the crucible, so to speak, of
Hmm.
like either they came out of the church, or or uh or they've been working on their craft for a minute. A&Ring was still a thing
Yes.
there.
Yeah.
So all of those things, I think, came into play, and not to mention, just coming off of the back of a lot of rich history. Some incredible, like, just all the legends and the pioneers of the years before. So I think all of that, excuse me, all of that went into, just a lot of the artists that emerged in the late 90s, early 2000s. And like
Hmm.
now, it's not to say that there obviously there's great R&B that's out here. You just gotta
Yeah.
look for it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not even all that hard either. But yeah, man, you know what I mean? I do appreciate you pointing that fact out, but it's like, yeah, that was a great time for music for sure.
So during that time, the money was different in the business,
Oh yeah.
and the work even was different in the business. It wasn't eyes everywhere so much as it is now.
Mhm.
And you know, people weren't sometimes judged on how many followers you have versus how much talent you have, because
Mhm.
that is a thing now.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit back then what it took to get, like, say, your project Overture now.
Mhm.
What would it take for you to put this project out back then against the energy that you have to do it now?
Well, I think the I'll say this much: the similarities are, um you still need solid people. You still need people that you know what they're doing, know what it
Mhm.
takes to get a
Mhm.
project over the finish line. to be able to tap into your demographic, to let people know, make them aware that you're there, that there's new music out. Those there's and maybe some other details, but generally speaking, that's probably the similarities. I would say the obvious difference is there was, I don't know, I feel like there might have been a little bit more gatekeeping, you know,
Mm,
back in the day. Um, uh, I think now I can definitely say that now the difference for me, the energy of doing things independently is it's rewarding, but obviously with wearing a lot of hats, you
mm-hmm.
know, sometimes as you're juggling things, some things you might slip up on, or some things might, it might like some, it's a little bit more difficult in that, like, it's rewarding in that, the energy that you put in, but it's more difficult because it's the onus is on you. Uh,
Yes. Yeah.
Whereas, back in the day, there was a marketing department, and there was, whatever promotions, and, the label basically, brought you through whatever channels in order to, do what, promote the project, or
Very true.
all the things that went into releasing a project. So I would say that those are probably the more obvious similarities and differences. Is just that, with the label, it's a whole system. Being in the, the whole the corporate system of things, it's everything is already sort of laid out. Whereas independent, obviously, thankfully, met a lot of supportive and amazing people along the way, and through those relationships, it's helped for me to get this project done and get it out. But still, a lot, it lands on me.
Yeah. So with this project, because it is, and I will say this, one of my favorite sounds in the whole wide world is to hear the orchestra warming up, and I so love that you intro that into your project. Like that's just like the most beautiful sound ever on earth to me. Um, when you create those songs, do you create those songs for this particular project, or are these songs that you pull from different parts of life to put them together for this project?
Um, yeah, I mean, you know, inspiration can come from either, you know, direct personal experience, or sometimes it come out of conversation. Sometimes what if questions, like, what if I was in that situation, kind of thing. Or, the way that this project uh, came together is I just found, like, you know, it's I just found like dating now, it's like a lot of people, um, they're like, it ain't even worth it now. It's like I might
Mm,
focus on me and make myself the best me possible. And if it's meant, it's meant. If not, well, whatever. And while I can understand how someone can get there,
mhm.
um, and to be honest with you, I do think in a way it actually does work, because if you learn to love yourself better, then out of respect for your own time, and out of respect for, you know, just your overall investment in, where it is you're trying to go, or who it
Mhm.
is you surround yourself with. Because you know how the saying go, it's like, show me the 5 people you hang out with the most, I'll tell you who you are, kind of thing.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
especially, much less like you're like a partner, you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I mean, I feel like if somebody pours into themselves that way, then you're going to be far more selective about who you're spending time with,
True.
much less like a partner.
True.
So you're going to be looking for different things. You're going to be holding yourself to a different standard. So anyway, those types of questions and those sorts of things made me kind of, just out of listening to conversations, out of my own personal experiences in the dating world, and even, going through a divorce, all of those things made me want to tackle, what it seemed like people, like in the singles, sort of situation, like in the singles world, what
Yeah.
people what people were feeling. And I wanted to I wanted to have those kind of conversations. Some songs, like there's songs in particular that's kind of like the second or third date type question, like, you know, what does love mean to you? Like, you know,
Mm.
like where are you at? Like, where are you at? What do you want out of
Right.
life? Kind of thing. So just a lot of those themes went, you know, came into play,
Yeah.
and a lot of the conversations that I was having through the album.
There's something about your project that reminds me of Jill Scott's latest project, and it's the fact that it forces you. It's therapy. It forces you to think inward and take account.
Mm,
And
right.
I so appreciate that. And that's what art is supposed to do. It's supposed to make you think.
Yeah.
And it's very adult. It's very mature. And I'm not saying that in a vulgar sense, but in the sense of intellectual. It's very mature. And did you go into it knowing that, or was it just how it formulated?
Uh, no, it was just kind of how it came together. Like it was, I just found a lot of those, you know, those topics and that subject matter interesting. Because I
Hmm.
mean, you know, I do know what you mean. Like, you know, great art can challenge you.
Hmm.
Like I've heard sometimes people say, um, you know, the artist is meant to make the comfortable uncomfortable and the uncomfortable comfortable.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like, you know, I know obviously art is subjective. It can really be anything. Like I know sometimes, you know, people want that escapism. They want to be
Yeah.
able to, you know, have that, you know, that to kind of be in a space of fantasy to get away from the seriousness of everything that's happening in
Hmm.
the world. And even for me, like I kind of, even though like, you know, it's like audible therapy in a way that how this album
Yeah.
came together, keeping in mind that the world is crazy. And I guess I kind of wanted to just have genuine conversations and meet people where they are. And I feel like that type of thing makes for real connection.
Yeah.
So
Amen.
that was, you know, that was kind of where I was at with it. But at the same time, I wanted to have fun, to be able to like throw in things like impressions where I just let whatever inspiration just run wild. Cause, you
Yeah.
know, it's funny, like, even with that particular track, I met this cat through Insta, this guy, Jake Milner, and
Okay.
Milliner, sorry. And Jake, he's from the UK and incredible producer. And you know, I would hear him posting different things. And I'm like, yo, that's crazy. But one, you know, he posts that particular joint, and I was like, whoa. I was like, yo, bro, pull that, pull that shit right now. I was like, I need that in my life. And like, you know, hearing it, I was like, oh, it was giving me like, you know, the way the chord progressions moved, it was giving me
Mhm.
like Luther Vandross Never Too Much meets Stevie Wonder's Do I Do type. And so I was just
Yeah.
like, oh, this would be crazy. And it's wild too. Like you know, fast forward to, you know, getting the track from him, getting the stems, jumping in the studio and recording. And the day I was recording it was the day that Quincy Jones had passed.
Mm.
And and I just, you know, like just kind of moving through the session, like specifically with like the harmonies that would come in the hook and come in the bridge. I was just trying to think of like, you know, kind of like Mike, like the texture.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, you know, it kind of put me in a mood while I was making it. So yeah. So anyway, so it's like all to say, yeah, there was definitely that intention of being aware of all of what's going on in the world right now and how
Mhm.
crazy things are.
Mhm.
I wanted to create something that, you know, I didn't want to pack on more seriousness per se. Like it was just more of a like just meeting people where they were, like just genuine connection. And it was kind of where I was at, and I felt like, oh, you know, somewhere in this, I feel like other people will be able to relate to, but at the
Right.
same time, like also just trying to have fun and just trying to create what I felt was missing. Like, you know,
Right.
like that was the thing for me is like there's a lot of great artists out here that I appreciate, you know, what they're doing and
Mhm.
like this sort of like passing the baton. Um, and so there's a lot of cats that I could point to. I'm like, ah, oh, that's what's up. But but yeah, at the same time, I felt like I wanted to the things that I felt I missed and I felt was missing. That was kind of a part of my starting point going in on making this project.
Very nice. Very nice. So I'm gonna jump now because does everyone know that you're an actor and you've been in a movie? Do people
I
know
mean,
that?
bro, I don't even know if I can really call it acting like that. Like, I mean, listen. So, obviously, I consider myself a triple threat, but I ain't had a chance to like really like, you know,
Okay.
really, what I'm saying? Like, I look at my brother Luke James. I ain't had a chance to really like, what I'm saying, dig in. But I had an opportunity to make a little cameo. It wasn't like a stretch or nothing. It was just I was in Made in Manhattan, uh,
Hmm.
Jennifer Lopez, which was an incredible experience. Like, I remember I went out to what Grammy party was it? I think it was in like 2002 or 2003, and I was in LA, and what's it there? Sony had their Grammy party,
Hmm.
and through, and apparently she was asking about me and brought me over to her table. Whoever came over was like, "Yeah, J Lo wants you to come over by her table." I was like, "Bet." so I went over. Um, Around that time, she was with Ben Affleck. So
Hmm.
yeah. Anyhow,
Yeah.
so anyway, I go and sit by the table, and we're talking. Next thing I know, get a call. My management's like, "Yo, she wants you to be in the movie. She wants you to be on the soundtrack." I was like, "What? Yes." Like as if that's going to be like an argument. Like say less. So anyhow, that's how that whole thing, happened. Took the trip up to New York. It was like maybe like a week and a half or something like that after that party,
Hmm.
and went out to New York, cut the record, and then I was invited to the shoot. That was pretty, that was an incredible experience. So yeah, that was my debut. You know what I'm saying? And on the silver
So,
screen.
so back in those times, right, when you took off like that, how did you manage? Because I know it's a lot coming fast at once, and it just seemed like, did it seem like it was overnight?
Um, the journey itself, no.
Hmm.
The pace at which everything was coming at me,
Hmm.
yes. Like,
Yeah.
man, dude, like, don't you forget it comes out. I did this Heineken commercial. And next thing I know, we doing this big performance at BB King's in New York, and like the Roots and Erica Badu's there, and whatever else. And I'm like, wow, this is and John Legend was there, and this was before his whole thing popped off.
Yeah.
Uh, he was kind of like opening, and yeah, and then going out to LA and going to KJLH and I'm waiting at Stevie Wonder's radio station in Los
Hmm.
Angeles. I'm waiting at the radio station. I'm like, oh man, am I really gonna see him? Because I'd met him once before, like when I was
Hmm.
young.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh man, but now it's different. Like I got music out now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Um, and it was a while, like in LA traffic, the whole bit. So I was kind of like, and everybody was like, "Yo, Stevie kind of move on his own time, bro. So it may not happen." And I was like, "Oh, damn, okay." And just as we was about to leave, just as like we were just about to go out the door, and then they get the call from downstairs, like, "Oh, Stevie coming upstairs." And I was like, "What?" And, he comes upstairs, sits down at the keyboard. He got a keyboard in the radio station. And he starts playing "Don't You Forget" and singing it. Obviously,
Wow.
I'm losing my mind. Um, yeah, and just so many people that I admired, Janet Jackson going on David Letterman, and Letterman asking her during the interview, like, who you listening to? And she's like, oh, I'm listening to Glenn Lewis. I'm listening to World Outside My Window. And like I mentioned, the J-Lo situation, and coming to Toronto. I remember one time, like, as everything's moving, I'm on tour with Alicia Keys, and I jump off tour, uh, something like that. I'm telling you, it was all moving. It was moving so incredibly fast, man. It was crazy. But coming home for a minute, and I forgot that Prince was performing at this spot called Massey Hall, in Toronto, and I'm like talking to my manager. We in the car, and I'm seeing the purple floodlight, and I'm like, and it hit me. I was like, oh, yo, I forgot Prince is in town on this day. Prince is playing, or he might have been living in Toronto at the time, but he had a show anyway. And I just literally just got off the plane the whole bit. I'm like, oh, and we're driving through downtown, going to the hotel. I'm like, yo, I forgot Prince playing tonight. And And I was like, man, I wish I had a connect or something like that. And my manager was like, what are you talking about, bro? You Glenn Lewis. And I'm like, what? He was like, come on. We pull up and jump out the car. We go to the side, and where security's at, people all over the street, all on the sidewalks, people inside, whatever. Um, but walk to the door, and my manager's like, yo, it's Glenn Lewis. And he was like, oh, okay, yeah, go ahead. I was like, what? I was like, this is how this goes? I was like, this is amazing. I was like, yo. So we get inside, and so I walk to the back, and the theater's dark, and it's obviously it's packed, it's Prince. And I'm in the back, and he's doing like this monologue. And he gets to this part, and it was crazy, dude. It was like, I don't even know how to explain it to you. Like, it was like the synchronicity of it. I don't know if like somebody told him in his monitor or ear monitor or what, but doing this monologue, and he's like pretending like he's talking to this girl, and he's like, oh, such and such, baby, I don't da whatever else. Wait, and he's like pretending like she said something. He's like, wait, hold on, you talking to Glenn Lewis? Oh, I can't mess with you then. Like, on stage, and I'm like, this is crazy. Next, about like 30 seconds later, the lights on the stage go up. And like, ladies and gentlemen, such and such and such, we'd like to welcome, hometown, your very own Glenn Lewis. He brings me up on stage. All the stories you heard about Prince is true. Like,
okay,
dude, like, I'm trying not to look him in the eye. Now I look up, I'm like, and the one and only mic is his mic, like the gold joint.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm standing, I'm like, I look at him, like, and I point, and he's like, he gave me like the royal nod. He gave me the. I was like, okay, so I took the mic, and I was just, I didn't know what groove was playing. I was so nervous, so I just kind of jammed out, got the crowd involved, whatever else, and then that was it. But basically all to say, man, like, it just, everything, it wasn't, I knew the getting there wasn't overnight, but all of what was going on, and the stages I got to share with people, and all like the critical acclaim, and it just, all of that was just coming at me so fast. So, rest in peace, obviously Prince being the legend that he is, like, having to be able to have that story, man. Like, I'm
really
so grateful and so thankful, man. Crazy.
Yeah. Wait, did you meet Janet yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did.
That's good.
I got a chance to meet her in Los Angeles. I think she was going to like a rehearsal. No, sorry. She was going to like a luncheon, and I got a chance to go with her, and it's just incredible. Obviously, she's a Jackson's royalty. You know what I mean? So I was just kind of like just taking it all in. You know what I'm saying? I'm the rookie on the scene, man, the young buck. So I was just kind of like, all right, But it was such an honor to be able to meet her. I didn't get a chance to meet her, to meet like the family per se, or in particular Mike. I didn't get a chance to meet Michael. But vicariously, I could live through Marsha Ambrosius from Floetry, and Andre Harris, guy. Andre Harris, Vidal Davis, obviously Philly. Produced that first album, World Outside My Window. But they got a chance to do Butterflies on Mike, so I heard like some of the stories, and but I did get a chance to meet Janet though.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because we're segueing into Philly. I'm not going to keep you long, but I had went to bat because I also write for Philly Soul Now magazine, and I wanted to put you in the magazine. And my editor was like, well, he technically isn't Philadelphia. I was like, how are you going to tell me Glenn Lewis isn't Philadelphia? And she says, no, he's coming to town. He has iconic music from the city. So yeah, so I can write an article. So let's talk about Philly. How did you find yourself to Philly? How did you get in a space where Philly could wrap themselves around you to give you that sound that you came out with?
Man, obviously it's an enormous blessing, because that changed my life. You know what I mean? I met the Byers brothers, who are known throughout the scene in Philly for working with a lot of talent. I mean, Philly's a tight community, right? Everybody know one another, and as much as like anywhere, you got your outliers, you got um, your misfits, so to speak. But generally speaking, it really is like city of brotherly love,
Mhm.
because everybody looks out for everybody, at least at least my experience.
Yeah.
Um, so all to say, being connected to the Byers brothers through uh, a friend of mine slash producer that I used to work with here in Toronto, Too Rude. Um, uh, Basically, we were working on something that they heard and they inquired about me. And fast forward, um, eventually, once we started working with one another, they got me my situation at Epic Records. We recorded half the album here in Toronto, and then
Mhm.
jumped to Philly. They moved me to Philly, um, and I don't know if the Corman Suites still exist, but I was staying
Yeah.
for a minute.
Yeah. Down near the airport.
Yeah. And then eventually I was down at, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting the address, but I moved down to like Walnut. I was down on Walnut, like kind of near Penn State, like facility and whatever. There's like a little bridge, and then on the
Yeah.
other side's like,
Walnut Street. Yep.
yeah, you know what I'm saying. So and man, I used to hit some diners on Spring Garden. Oh my God, yo, the food is crazy. Anyway, whatever. Point being, but yeah, Philly was home for like 6 years, bro. Like
Yeah.
so.
I
Um,
remember when you first came out, I actually thought initially that you were from Philly.
yeah,
And then it wasn't until I met you then I found out that you were from Toronto.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, it was funny, like, uh, the way that I was brought in, and then just hanging out with Vidal and hanging out with Andre. And
Mhm.
they would go out and we'd hit up, oh man, what was that spot at the end of Broad before that bridge going to the water? There's a spot there. It was a popular spot. I remember Iverson went to that club. I remember that was the first time I met Iverson at that club. There was a bunch of clubs, like a bunch of clubs in that area. But anyway, whatever. But yeah, like, I think with the whole movement and being affiliated with Touch of Jazz and, you
Yeah.
know, Jazzy Jeff, really embraced me, first coming there, before the Epic deal. The Byers brothers brought me through the 444 3rd Street, and yeah, like, Boys to Men was down there, or at least Wanye and Nate was down there, and then Jazzy was there, and then I met everybody. Like I met, Music was down there, Floetry was,
Hmm. Hmm.
Carvin and Ivan and Keith and D and the whole Touch of Jazz scene. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was just like a natural fit, you
Yeah.
know. So people didn't really think twice, like especially once the music came out and being a part of that whole clique. Most people thought I was from Philly.
So with that being said, when you start going around performing, are you coming home?
Oh, come on. Are you kidding me? I gotta come back to my second home, man. Are you what? Like right
Okay.
now, right now I'm just lining up dates and everything. So, the minute there's a Philly date, I'm letting all my folks know. Like, I mean, everybody's kind of spread out a little bit now. Some folk, some cats is on the West Coast now and whatever
Yeah.
else. Absolutely, I got to see my people when I come out there, man, for sure.
So I'll ask you this. What do you want people to walk away with after they complete Overture? What is your wish for them?
Uh, I mean, honestly, man, like, you know, all the all the artists and all the albums that have ever inspired me, um, you know, I've felt like they've become like a part of the soundtrack of my life, and it doesn't matter how much time goes by, I can always revisit
Sure.
that, and it brings me back to a certain place, like it makes me feel whole. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? There's certain projects that have that effect on me, and I really, simply said, I approached this project with love. Like this is all me. Like, I got to a point where I was like, you know what, in order for me to say the things I want to say, in order for me to give um, what it is about me or of me to those that have rocked with me this whole time, and even for people that might first hear me, like or their first just being exposed to me for the first time. I was like, I just want it to be the kind of thing that um it's a journey from them from the minute they press play and as they're streaming through, or eventually when there's vinyl and CDs. Working on that. um but just for them to have the kind of experience where it's a journey that they're able to move through it from chapter to chapter, act one, act two, act three. Like that's how it kind of feels to me, like from the
Yeah.
time it's up, because it's funny, like it starts with that overture, but the string section doesn't really play until the end.
Hmm.
They will, but it opens up with that, the warm up, and then from that on down to like where life begins. Like for those that I'm gonna just set y'all up, for anybody that hasn't heard the album yet, but from down to where life begins, that's kind of like Act One. And
Hmm.
then Act Two kind of begins at past tense, and then you know I would say ends at like say what you want. Going into like dance for, or not even like dance for me, and then that's the end of Act Two, and then Act Three begins with what does love mean to you
Hmm.
on you know what I mean. So it's like there was that intention put behind it of wanting to make something that was cohesive, something that could mean something to people, that they could feel the intention but feel the authenticity and feel the love that was put into it, because there's absolutely a difference. I mean, I'm sure we can all agree, from a home cooked meal versus fast food. There's a lot of bright and shiny music out here and auto tune this and that, and everybody doing all, whatever it is that they're doing. And I'm not knocking it because I enjoy it too,
Hmm.
but there aren't enough home cooked meals.
Right.
So I just, that sort of intention, that kind of heart, that kind of mindset is where I was at from the beginning of the project to present day, to it being out.
Very nice. A solid piece of work, brother.
Thank you, my man. I appreciate you.
So tell people where they can follow you, find you, keep up with you, find out your latest.
Cool, cool. So I can be found at Glenn Lewis 365 on here, on Facebook, on TikTok. TikTok numbers I gotta get up, but I mean I ain't really making TikTok music, am I? And Glenn Lewis Official is my official website. I will have vinyl and CDs available uh, soon. I can't give a date just yet, but I'm working on it. And yeah, those are my socials, and I will definitely be in Philly soon. I have to be, like, I can't, like, I don't know, is what is it? Is it TDA on South Street? What
PLA,
TLA? There you go.
PLA. The Fillmore's the place now. Fillmore's the place
What
to
it,
be.
oh, Fillmore's the spot.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, man. I can't wait to touch down, man. It's been a minute. I haven't been back to Philly since, I don't even know if I should put this out here. Um, I haven't been back to Philly since 2013,
That
2014.
sounds about right. That's probably when I met you.
Yeah,
It's probably around that time.
it's been that long.
Because the Prince Theater is not the Prince Theater anymore. They changed the name. It's something else.
Okay. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, I know a lot's probably changed, because yeah,
Yeah.
I know a lot's probably changed. I know there was a little down Rittenhouse Square and stuff, like there was a lot of gentrification going on, and uh,
Yeah.
that's gotta go. Anyway.
But anyway, one more thing before I get you to go. I normally get my guests to do a manifestation from my portal here. And whatever you feel like you want to put out there in the universe, acts of the universe, offer the universe, have at it.
All right. Um, I just want everybody that's on here, and whether they're not, whether it be in Philly, Toronto, throughout the U.S., Canada, the world. And right now, I know we need we need peace, we need healing, we need love. As much as it might sound cliche, I don't think those things in and of themselves are cliche. I think this is a time that people need to uh to be loved, to feel love. Yeah, I think the thing that I want put out in the universe that I pray touches everyone is that whether it be in their time of need, whether they up, whether they down, to remember that kindness goes a long way, towards one another and towards ourselves, to show each other grace and to show ourselves grace. And yeah, man, let's keep the love rolling in spite of everything, because there's nothing stronger than that.
Amen. Amen. Brother, thank you for your time and your energy and for the art.
I appreciate you, Mr. Evans.
All right. I'll see you when you come to Philly.
Oh, absolutely, man. We'll just stay up, and hopefully like September-ish. I'm hoping.
I'm around.
All right, bet.
All right, brother.
All right, my guy. I see you.